Everyone, welcome back to the Potty Mouth Garden Show. First off, apologies for not being here last week. Yes, it was a little bit, it all came a bit of a shock to me anyways, but I was, as you know, or some of you know, I was under the knife. And actually, maybe when the show was going out, I was probably around the toilet bowl because I was like, it took us ages to get recovered from the anesthetic. This time I was like, so I don't know if you just wanted to know that, but you know what I mean?
Like me with broccoli.
Yeah, yes, certainly was. But that was last week. But anyway, hello and everyone. JB, lovely to have you on. Gardening,
Hello,
yes.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I've even been up to the garden and done a little bit as well, JB, but I haven't watched any videos, so I'm not 100% sure what's going on. But, JB, I'm a little bit, let's just show, if I can show this 1 second. What's that, JB? Can you see it?
No,
you know what it is? It's like, I wish Jesse was here to see this. Do you know what I mean? This is just like, this is the day we've been waiting for.
You said
Now,
this, didn't you?
I'm going to say, let's just having a look at it, that I thought it was just dried out. But is it just lack of water, JB? Is it, or is it?
Yes. So I found this the other day, right at the back of the trays, and it's one of the problems with having like so many crammed into a small space. Unless you actually pull them like the whole tray out and go through a bit of rigmarole checking them over, it's very easy to miss. And this one just hadn't had any water for absolutely ages. I'm surprised it still looked so healthy at the top, but I just gave it a good drink and it bounced back as they do.
Yes. So, you know, can you not, does your tray not hold the water? Could you not just water from the bottom and everyone would get it?
Well, that's what I do. So it's really weird that this one hadn't. And I did just kind of top water it. I don't know if maybe there's like some air gaps at the bottom of the tray or something like that, but I just took a little note to self, be more diligent. It was just right at the back of the little jungle there.
Well, I think you've just posted that in our little chat, and as soon as I seen it, I was like,
Yeah, exactly.
How do I work out my screen share? I had to work out I've had a couple of practices of my screen share just to kind of get that, you know what I mean? Thank the chili gods, eh? We're not all perfect.
Really good now. Yours are really picked up.
Mark, nice to have you, sir. How are you doing? It's been a long time.
I know, hasn't it?
Yeah.
No, all good in the hood. As
good,
I say, I had a little sabbatical, a few weeks off, all things YouTube and whatnot.
Yeah.
But back in the past sort of week or two, and ready and raring to go.
Just as a YouTuber, Mark, is it good to do that? Because sometimes I get a bit anxious, or I get quite anxious if I don't. But then I've been going through a bit of a kind of slump myself, and it's always nice to kind of hear other people's side of it.
Yeah, I'd sort of, you know, I made a bit of a promise to myself that I was going to go all or nothing kind of thing, and do something with it. And I probably got burnt out because I think it was since Christmas, when I was off over Christmas, I came up with this great idea. I was going to do this, right? And I'd been putting out pretty much 2 videos a week, every week since Christmas for about 3 months ish. And I think it got towards the end of March, and I was like, I can't keep doing it. And I don't think people realize that it's not just the filming, but it's like getting home, moving your files, editing, uploading to YouTube, doing the thumbnail, doing the title, doing everything else, and the editing. I'd started filming in 4K as well, and it's so much more difficult editing a 4K file because they're massive compared to normal sort of HD files, and it just took it out. I was burnt out, absolutely burnt out by the end of March, and I was like, and I thought, I'm going to quit. I've had enough. I'm done with that. I'm finished. I'm hanging up my trowel. That's it. But couple of weeks off. And back to it in a little bit sort of, I say a slower pace, but the first week I was back, I put 3 videos out. But,
never learn.
We'll see how it goes.
Audrey.
Yes.
How are you? Yeah, we're all a little bit stunned over here. We've just been talking about it, but you've got sunshine over there. We don't know what that is, Audrey, man. What?
Well, I feel like Jessie a few weeks ago where it was coming in on her face.
Yeah.
It's really high in the sky. I usually don't get it over here. So, yeah, it's beautiful. It's going to be a nice
warm potatoes out. Get the potatoes out, man, there for an hour or two.
Well, they showed up yesterday. So, at least the new ones.
Right.
the tall one, I'm still not sure what to do with. They're so tall. They're at least 3 feet tall.
Surely,
And
if
it's just,
you put them
I
out
know.
now, if you put them out now, would they still get clattered? Do you think? Hit?
We're going to go back down to, regular April weather, but I don't know. Can I cut them off? Like, what happens if you top a potato?
Well, there's only one way to find out.
I guess, because
Actually, yes.
there's no way I can dig a hole that deep.
It's
Yes.
funny, Audrey. That's me first kind of topic. I asked ChatGTP. I says, "You are a gardening expert for the month of April. Give me 5 bullet points. Give me 5 bullet points with only 6 words in each bullet point, because sometimes it right, you know what I mean. But it said unpredictable weather changes, planting decisions.
Yeah.
So, Audrey, you fit right into that.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. So yesterday we got a really hot day. We were at 90 degrees, which I think is 27 Celsius.
Wow.
And we've been, dipping down into the low 40s at night, which is negative for you guys. But anyway, so I was shocked. I still don't have my broccoli out so that's going in tomorrow, and it's just going to have to do what it does.
Mm-hmm.
And all my onions are going in, and we're just going to play that game and see how it goes.
Well, I took up, was it yesterday? I took up my aubergines and the tomatoes that are going eventually outside. Now, I think JB was 2 weeks ahead of me taking his prime chilies up there. So, JB, what's happened with your... because I haven't watched anything. Have you done the parent daddy running back to the house with them yet for your little babies?
No, thankfully not. So they're not amazing. I wouldn't say they were my prime ones. They're sort of, I still care. They're not like completely sacrificial, but they're some of the lower priority ones. And they're really tall, which is why I took them out, because they're just running out of space back there. And they're okay. They haven't grown much. There's a tiny little bit of sunburn, I think, which I'm showing off in my next video, just so that people can see what it's like. It's sort of like a bit of bronzing almost on the leaves, a little bit of fading and a bit of bronzing. So if you've put your peppers out and you've got that, don't worry too much. It's just them getting a little bit too much sun. They're okay.
Is that not water droplets on the leaf causing that, or is that just the direct sun causing that?
No, it'll just be from the sun. I've not had any water on their leaves, so it won't have been that. But yeah, they're doing okay. They still look pretty healthy. A little bit. They haven't done that, full luscious dark green growth just yet. But they're hanging on in there. It's quite nice and cozy in that greenhouse. Our lows have been, it looks like we've been dipping to 7 or 8. So not dramatic, but not ideal for a chili pepper. But we got a couple of nights of 5, which is a little bit low for chili pepper. It'll just kind of really slow their growth. So the rest still indoors.
Still in there. And are they still in pots, so you can do the desperate run, right?
Yeah, I would save those if it was desperate. They're still in their 1 litre pots, those ones back there, and they need to be moved on a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, the main thing I've got wrong this year was I went too early, and it's a shame because they're going to get really root bound, and that's going to slow them down a little bit. But I think it's better to let them get root bound rather than, because I could put them up and take them into the greenhouses or the polytunnel, but I think it's better leave them in the nice conditions rather than get them cold.
Maybe, JB, maybe the tortoise is overtaking the hare.
Maybe. Yes.
Well, a lot of my little ones have their first true leaves now.
Nice.
So I'm very excited. I'm right on your heels, JB.
Oh yes,
Right
we
on
are coming up. The pensioners' army there is coming.
Once it warms up and they get sun on them, they do go. They do really speed up. So.
Yeah.
Right, I would have thought, JB, I know we're talking chilies, you know what I mean? Apologies there. But I would have thought as soon as you took them outside, because I noticed within like an hour or two, that darkness, that richness colour going to chili leaves. That's not happened yet, has it not?
No, I think when you've got much more established plants, these things they're pretty tall. They're just a bit slower to react. We'll see. We'll see how they do. Like I say, they've kind of stalled. They look healthier than the first night that they went out, but there's not much growth on there just yet.
You know what I mean? You could actually just see a little bit smug.
Yours do look good. Yours look really good.
To be honest, I'm not being. But soon as I swapped over to a different compost, it was night and day. Night and day.
It is interesting. I wondered. I was having a little think about that because I saw that in your latest video, and I wonder whether or not it's just that you're used to peat-based compost. You know, that stuff that you're using, the clover stuff, is pretty much gold standard, isn't it? So I think maybe
I've had every time I kind of go on and do a video, I grumble about. I think it's a gardener's thing to grumble about compost is one of the main. But I've had quite a few people say it's happened with me. It's happened with me. You know what I mean? So
with which compost?
With with the gold, the peat-free gold standard compost, what I mean? You're kind of your favourite.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I was talking about it in a video. I think because when we went to see them, they did say sometimes you do need to feed a little bit earlier. And I think sometimes if you get a bag that maybe some of the ingredients haven't composted enough, because it's such a wood-based product, if anything is going to be deficient, it's probably going to be the nitrogen, because it takes quite a lot of nitrogen to break down the carbon. Anyone with like a compost bin will know that. So I think a little bit of liquid feed or bloodfish and bone can go a long way in the silver grow.
Mind, I did notice though, JB, and fair to silver grow, there was the kind of feed pellets in there. You know what I mean? And there was there was all them that were there. So
yeah, they're Osmocote little balls are a little they're a bit weird. They kind
were they the slug eggs?
Slug eggs.
I think it takes certain conditions, either heat or like duration of being moist in the soil, until they actually break down and release the fertilizer. So if they're not breaking down, then that might be one of the problems. They only switched over to that Osmocote fertilizer in 2021, 22, I think. So yeah, I'm not sure, but me and Jesse, we've been doing fine with it. So I don't know if it's maybe a batch thing. It does also, your changing over of the compost has coincided with the picking up of the weather in the season a little bit, hasn't it? Have you still got many in silver grow?
You're grabbing at straws, big lad. You're grabbing at straws there. You know what I mean? I'm gonna re-sow beetroot, and I'm just gonna leave the ones that are in that beetroot that I've already sown a month ago, that are, the size of a thumbnail. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to kind of keep on harping on about it, but you know what I mean? It's not the first time that... my back's stiff. We were talking before the show about how our setups, and this is not the ideal. My knees are crunched under a desk here, so... but the hips, you know what I mean? The pain here, there, and everywhere. Mark, what's been happening then with you then? Gardening wise, are you planting? Are you sowing at chilies? Because you did some great videos. I'll be honest, the great videos about the cost of setting up, doing the chili thing,
Really
so
good.
And actually, JB just said there he went a little bit too early. I wonder if we all did. Do you know what I mean? I wonder if we should really. Because I think we're out of the gates January the 1st more, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean the chilies are on the go and they're looking good. They're not going anywhere near out. I'm just checking the date, 15th of April. I'm another 3 to 4 weeks, I reckon, at least, before any of them look at the polytunnel. But I was a little bit behind on the tomatoes because I had that sort of 3 week sabbatical. I was like, but maybe it's the enforced break is good, being a little bit later. They're behind us at the moment. You probably can't see them. There's some little grow lights just behind me there at the back, where the tomatoes is. They're tiny. They're only this big. They've only just germinated not long ago. But I think it might be good. But speaking of chilies, hold on a second.
Here he is.
He's got them from the garden centre.
Let's just
very good.
Let's just talk about chilies. So they're not looking too bad, and that's in the old silver grow. That
looks like a small pot.
stripy.
Right.
That's very nice.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not looking too bad. Here's one I prepared earlier.
That's the thing, you know what I mean? It's like you and JB, Mark, have nothing wrong with the silver grow. Do you know what I mean? I wonder if,
Yeah, but it's doing all right. They've been under the correct, controlled conditions. They're in the, like a inside cupboard. They're under the grow light. You know, nothing really changes. Temperature's pretty consistent. Light's pretty consistent. So they'll be pretty good when they go out in the polytunnel. Like I say, we'll see how they fare when that comes on. But it's getting towards that time of the year again. I've got all the sweet peppers up there as well under the grow lights, and it's just getting a bit crowded. And I must admit, when I saw JB's chili there, in my tray at the back of it was an aubergine. And I pulled the tray out at the weekend, and I had exactly the same problem. All the leaves were like saggy. So the one at the back hadn't been picking up any water. Although they're all sitting in a tray, they're all in like a tray that I water into the tray, and it picks up from the bottom. But the ones at the back aren't getting anywhere near as much water as the ones at the front. So I don't know if it's on a ever so slight angle, you know, if it's not quite.
The house is on the house is on a hill, man.
It's probably my board in the cupboards. But I might put a spirit level on it just to see if it is ever so slightly off. Because obviously, if there's water, it's just gonna move forward. But I try to look and like pour it in. But
Mark, even just looking there, your window's off to kill anyway.
That's my camera's off. Because I've got a new desk, you know. It's
I think the whole bloody house is
leaning to one side.
Audrey, how's your sons at like chilies and everything like that? Because I know we're talking chilies, but tomatoes.
Yeah, chilies are all in. I did resow some because they were just doing nothing. So we'll see what they come to. You know, we have a much hotter summer, so I'm hoping they'll catch up. Once they get outside, they seem to really take off. And I won't put those out until maybe third week in May, maybe even first week in June. Because I just don't want them to get nicked at all. They're better if they just stay hot.
That's a bizarre, like June. I mean, when does your summer finish then, Audrey? When do you think? Because it'll turn like on a sixpence for you. So
right, but it won't until early October.
Right.
So I usually get a really good harvest in September. Really good, and sometime in August. I mean, they do start producing pretty quickly. So yeah, that's on the go. All my tomato. Oh no, I have 8 new tomatoes that need to start. So those will probably start tomorrow as well, maybe even this afternoon. And then it's hell for leather. Like everything that's got to be in 4 weeks after the last frost, you know, I've got a pile that needs to be sown for that. So,
Audrey, if the crunch came to the crunch, and I'll come round all yous on this one, if you have to sacrifice something because just space now is limited, you know what I mean? With juggling, what would you sacrifice first?
My husband.
I don't
He's
need
very resourceful. He's very
to
resourceful, and he would do just fine.
Get him out.
You're asking me. This is Sophie's choice, and I'm not making it. Okay. Yeah, that's Sophie's choice.
Well,
dude.
I'll tell you where the way I'm coming from is because I was being so like frustrated this year with the chilies. It would probably be the chilies because the tomatoes have just romped away. Everything seems to be fine, and now space is you know what I mean. I'm just using like a giant tray, a heated tray, but that's now full. Do you mean? But now
that's
I
kind
need
of what you have to do at this time of year.
No, you got to. You know what I mean?
mean,
I took some tomatoes up to the polytunnel, the ones that are going outside, but it's like this juggle thing. Do you know what I mean? But
oh yeah, this is the dance of the trays right now.
you
You know what seedlings?
I'm clumsy, me. I've got 2 left feet, so you know. Oh, and I did bloody smash one of me good chilies as well. I did I
saw that.
Yes, I thought it might have because I just quickly put it up, you know, as if like it didn't happen.
5-second rule.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I had the 5-second rule, but then I went the next day and I thought, oh no, you certainly got snapped there.
Okay, I will change my answer from Sophie's choice too. I would sacrifice what I can purchase in a garden center.
Oh, that's a good thought.
Because
Give it a little time.
I
That's a
could
good
pick one
thought.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
JB, what about you sacrificing?
Well, I think anything but the chilies, right? I've already kind of made that because what I really should have done. So my tomatoes, for example, they're like this big. They're like I sowed those a month ago, and some of them are still only just starting to germinate. You know, just the weather. So if I had the space indoors, I would have germinated the tomatoes indoors first. I would have.
All right, so they haven't been germinated indoors at all.
No,
right,
because space. Like I say, I've already made the decision, sacrifice everything else for the chilies. So a lot of other kind of stuff that needs a bit of heat, I've just left it to its own device in the greenhouse, and it'll get there eventually. But that's what I prioritize.
Mark, what about you? Which babies would you kill off?
It's a good question, because I'm trying to grow more of what I use, what I cook with, what we use all the time in the house. Like I'm doing loads of onions this year, because we use loads of onions, loads of sweet peppers, loads of sweet peppers. We don't use loads of chilies, but I enjoy growing chilies. And obviously, there's got to be a bit of posturing, a bit of competitiveness. You've got to sort of like just see how things are going. So I couldn't.
I think we've got JB the second here. Keeps bringing into the shot.
I'd have to keep the chilies on the go, but peas. I think I love like peas out the pod, right? Honestly, they're really, really nice. But I love peas. But peas hate me. They absolutely every year. Honestly, they hate growing for me. I don't know what I do to them. I've followed all sorts of different videos and techniques and things to try and get peas on the go, so the peas would go, just so I don't have to battle with them.
Funny, carrots are it's my nemesis. Carrots, but I've got a secret plan this year. Do you want to hear me plan for carrots?
You're buying them at the store.
I'm just going to buy them. One of my beds that has got a lovely fitted bit of cardboard on now. Yeah. I'm going to cut with me howie knife. Hurry knife. I'm gonna cut 2 stripes down, say about 4 inches. So that I'll just take off all the cardboard still there, apart from these 2 stripes. I'm gonna dig out about 4 inches of soil. I'm gonna fill it with peat-based compost. I'm gonna soak that, and I'm gonna sow these the carrots that Jessie said. I can't remember which one she mentioned. The certain carrot. Which one?
Touchon?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're the ones. I'm going to sow them, and I'm going to cover them straight away with micro mesh. Yeah. And that's my plan. That's my plan. Because the last 2 years running, weeds have swamped. Yeah. Weeds have grown quicker, and it's hard to thin out, and I've just thinned out everything, and it's been a nightmare. That is my plan.
I saw Bob Flowerdew was talking about this recently, and he said what he does for carrots, a bit out there, if I'm honest. He pours boiling water on the soil of his carrot drills to sterilize it and kill off any weed seeds, so that when the carrots are germinating, they don't have that weed pressure.
I'll swear down that's my mother told us to do that, know. No, me mum, and I've never done it.
It's a proper old-fashioned tip, that one, probably.
Right.
Just got to
listen to your mother, Tony.
I know. No, she did. She mentioned that.
Cooking earthworms.
Boiling water.
What?
I sow mine into vermiculite. I dig a drill and then I put vermiculite on. Sow the seeds and I put vermiculite on top.
So they actually germinate in the vermiculite and then hunt down for the goodness in the soil later, right? Yep.
Nice.
I don't put a ton in, but that's because it's so easy for them to get through vermiculite.
Yeah.
I dug all mine out. Was it 2 years ago? I started a new carrot bed. Every single grain of soil that went in this double height pallet collar, been through the soil mill, so it's all been ground down, all totally fine, and it goes. And I watched. It was Monty Dawn actually on Gardener's World, right? And he did this technique where he just scattered the seeds over the top, and I was like, "Nah, no way." So I did it, and I just scattered the seeds on the top, thinned out the odd one. Marvelous. Honestly, it was brilliant. None of this doing drills, nothing like that.
Right.
Just scattered the seeds, and it was sweet candle, which is a marvelous carrot to get. Scattered them just like handful of them like that all over the top. So
you didn't even put they didn't even get covered with anything.
Yeah, a little bit more compost on the top.
Right.
Again through the soil mill, so it's nice and fine. And I've got a bit of perlite mixed in there as well, just for free draining and stuff like that on the top. Water them in, bit of fleece on the top, just to let them germinate. And then I've got the same as you. I've got like the micro mesh that comes over the top to keep the carrot fly away and stuff like that. But blooming marvelous.
Nice.
Well, I wonder if I'm doing Right, I wonder if I'm doing too much there with all this cutting me lines, digging
You've
me
said it
soil
now,
out.
Tony. You got to do it.
You got to do it now.
Mark's just like throwing
Just like
seeds
this.
into the garden.
But when I see him did it, I saw him do it on Garden House Road. I was like, nah, no way, no way, no way. And I did it, and it worked. I was like,
Right.
oh, maybe he does know something.
Nice.
Well, I guess you must know. GB, is carrots a nemesis? What's your nemesis?
Absolutely. I hate them so much. I hate them so much.
But not like broccoli. They're just hard to grow.
Yeah, I just can't get them to germinate. And I've done so. What I normally do, just drill a bit of compost on top, cover it over with a board to keep the moisture in. And it very rarely works. Very, very rarely for me. I have just done a bed, though. I've just sown it with I planted out the Boxing Day onions, and I've sowed two more carrot drills because I've already done a couple, which were over a week ago. And shock, no germination yet. But I'm hopeful. I still want to try it. You know,
I mean, everyone does say they kind of keep it moist, but it's a bit of sometimes a kind of hell of a task to do that. So
yeah, and with the boards, if you're not going down all the time, then there's the risk that they're all going to germinate.
die off anyway as well.
Do you ever plant them under something else so they're in like the shadow of something?
No, no, I've not tried that. Roger, it's the short answer.
That works really well for me.
I think I did try last year when I had a bit of a polyculture bed going on.
Mm-hmm.
So there were all the tall flowers and like verbena and bronze fennel. And I think I did try some in there, but they just didn't germinate. I think they did. I had 2 lines. I remember it was sort of near the broad beans. I got like 1 carrot out of each drill. It was like that big. Like, brilliant. Good effort.
Mark, you know when you said you tilled it to a fine till, so did you get any carrots splitting or going haywire? Or were they all
there's still the odd one, yeah. You still get them, but I would say a good 75% of them were sort of straight.
Right.
There's nothing more satisfying.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, do you, till you pull it out, and you pull it out and it's straight, and you're like, yes, look at that.
Yeah.
It's almost like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying like a northern thing, but it's almost like hunting for truffles, you know, when you find a truffle, and we're always like carrot hunters here. Do you know what I mean? It's that same.
The best carrots I ever did were we used to have in the back garden like a little raised bed that we just put a load of topsoil in, kind of topsoil and compost. So it was really fine and quite a lot of sand in. And that I just scattered a few lines, thought I will see what come up. Best carrots I've ever grown.
I've seen people do them in the buckets. You know, the buckets for the potatoes, the 30-litre buckets.
I was going to say that,
you can try them in then as well, but
that's that's the kind of drying out quick. You know what I mean? But I like that. I might do that actually, Mark, because I've got like a couple of little bit.
Don't
I'm not
put
going
it on me. Don't put it on me.
No.
No.
Gospel. It's gospel now. Just try the scatter approach and the hurry knife approach as well. Any early pests? I noticed on one of the aubergines a bit of white green fly on already from the greenhouse. I haven't looked properly, but I kind of just rubbed all the leaves and killed what I've seen. Took them up to that's the first of the green fly I've seen. So it's here. It's coming. Anybody
I saw
get
white cabbage butterfly?
Oh. Right, I haven't seen anything like that yet. No.
Yeah, I really wanted to kill it. I didn't know how to get to it fast enough. But, yeah, I was like, you need to just go away. So, yeah, I saw one flying around, happy as a clam.
Happy as a clam.
Yeah.
What about JB? Any pets? Anything?
Well, yeah, I had the first cabbage white in the polytunnel a little while ago. But I've not seen many on the wing. But yeah, it's that time of year. The aphids have woken up. I was kind of hoping I wouldn't have them, but there's loads of flea beetles in my polytunnel already. So they're all over. Like I did a few little bits of radish, and there's some cabbages in there that are getting nibbled. But nothing too dramatic. The thing I'm most worried about is spider mites this year.
Oh, that's
in the greenhouse, and I think it's still a little bit early for them to start kind of waking up and doing their thing. But yeah, I've noticed loads of ladybirds are out by now as well. So I'm not sure if they're waking up further north, but down here they're absolutely everywhere. There was like 50 in the polytunnel the other day. They were like on the skin.
Wow.
Oh,
so
zip
I think
that
they must
up
have
and keep them in.
yeah, should have.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
it's not
definitely...
it's not yet you're going to be like booting up the sprayer with the neem oil in or anything like that. You're not.
I tend to only use that on my potted chili peppers if there's an issue early in the season, before, because it's all about the balance, right? So for the aphids and stuff, they're able to thrive this kind of year, especially indoors. So we've got quite a problem in the conservatory downstairs. And it's because you've created like a nice warm kind of artificial environment. So you're creating an artificial environment where the aphids can thrive and kind of get out of control before the natural pest eaters and the predators can do their thing and keep everything in balance. So by June, for me, all the predatory insects are feasting on my pests. So it's only kind of normally that kind of May time where sometimes you've got, for me anyway, where I've got an insect population, a pest population that might have exploded out of control, that natural predators won't be able to control, and that's when I turn to kind of neem oil or pesticide.
Mm-hmm. Mark, what about you? Is it something that's
yeah, two so far that I've spotted. One, everybody's favourite, the slugs. In the greenhouse. Honestly, I keep finding them in the cauliflowers. They make a beeline for the cauliflowers, and you find them under your cell trays and little gaps. But
yes,
we're lucky, like out the back where I've got the greenhouse. There's nobody behind us, so I found that the little plastic plant labels that I've got makes a really great slugger pull. So you put the slugs on it, and you do that, and off the go like that, and that's the slugs gone. But I've seen quite a few daddy longlegs lately, and I mean that's not so bad in that their own right, but when they lay their eggs in the soil and it makes the little leather jackets that live in the soil that you don't know they're there, you come along, here you go, plant your crop, eats the roots of the crop, and all your crops are dying, and you're like, why are my crops dying? And we had a problem with them on our site a couple of years ago. There was quite a few plots had these little larvae in, so the leather jackets, and there's a type of nematode you can get.
I was just going to say that, Mark. There is a nematode you can kind of spray.
So I sort of preempt them now and put the nematodes out to get on top of them. But they're horrible, like little white wriggly grub sort of things. And it's saying unless you dig your entire bed over, which kind of defeats the no dig sort of way of doing things, you don't know they're there until you've put all your stuff out, all your little seedlings that you've been growing on for ages. You put them out, and I had that whole bed of iceberg lettuces. Oh, beautiful, lovely. And all of a sudden, they just started dying, and I was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?"
Oh no!
And one of my plot neighbours said about them, and I was like, "Oh." So I went and dug the soil up, and here they come, these little white grubs out the soil. So daddy longlegs, get them when you see them.
Get them. You watch like the likes of say Charlie Dowden, where his veg are just like immaculate big things, and you think, does the slugs not go? Do leather jackets not go? You know what I mean? Do these things not go there? You know what I mean? It's like, we don't go to Charlie's. Don't go to Charlie's site.
Don't go there,
you know
welcome.
We'll just go to Mark's. We'll go to Mark's. It's a long walk, but we'll get there. You know what I mean? Audrey, any pests bothering you? Or I know cabbage white there, but
I saw the cabbage butterfly. Not seeing a slug, but I won't probably, particularly once it gets warm. Our bug bin is almost complete.
Oh, nice!
Like it's almost ready. So we just need to do a few things and put the sign on it, and it'll be out there attracting all of the happy pests.
Is it big? Is it?
Oh, it's huge.
Is it
really?
It's enormous. My husband doesn't do much like small, so the Ben Tower is 6 feet tall.
Wow!
Wow!
I know.
Goodness.
And then Parliament is like 4 feet long. I mean, this is like a bug condo, fabulous place.
Audrey, I'm 6'2". The thing sounds huge.
Yeah, my husband's 6'2", and he's actually taller than him. So, because there's a spire on it, of course, because that's how the actual design went. So, Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm hoping we'll
Brilliant.
see a bug or two that we like back there.
Mm-hmm. Whereabouts you put it in your garden then, Audrey?
I'm putting it kind of at the back. We call it the back 40. It's not 40 acres. It's, our big flat in-ground bed. So kind of tucked in the corner there, and I'm planting wildflowers all around it. And I figured it's available to the garden, but not just right up in it.
Yeah, nice.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a little protection. They have a fence behind them, a wooden fence. So we'll see.
It's
I
funny,
think
I've
this is going to
never...
be
I'm
cool
gonna say,
little
Audrey,
tribute to Steve.
mhm,
So yeah,
that's lovely, to be honest. I've never done anything like, I've got that neighbour's garden, that's just a wildlife park, you know what I mean? So it's kind of, that's my homage to me wildlife. I just like that.
yeah. Is that still vacant?
Well, no, someone's got it, and I've noticed now, they've had like plastic over, but we've had winds and everything, and it moves for
Yeah.
a week or two, then someone comes back and tries and lays, but they lay it out with, like I say, 4 bricks with, with
Yeah.
a giant
the wind's just gonna-
tarpaulin with like, and it's like, it's not going to work. And now there's like, brambles are coming up. You know what I mean? I've never seen brambles before, and once brambles, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't think the heart's in it. You know what I mean? Because
Mustn't be watching your videos, Tony. Get them subscribed.
they'll be just watching us go flying around on bikes and scooters. Weird.
Yeah, that scooter was pretty cool.
Bloody dangerous things. You didn't see the full video. There was a few swear words. Oh, stop this thing. What's it? Let's see, chat. Soil preparation, a key to success. JB, have we been doing anything in there for soil preparation?
Well,
Can I just jump in and tell you what I've been doing? I've been throwing me bags of silver crew on, just getting rid of them. I've just been putting them on the soil.
don't do that.
£70 I'll just do it on the bloody air.
What you should do for your testing, because if you've just sown a load of new stuff in the clover, haven't you? You should sow stuff in silver grow again, but now later in the season, so you've got a fair.
That's a good. I have still got a couple of bags left. That's a good.
Yeah, I spied them in your tunnel. But yeah, bed prep. I struggle with this one a little bit. So I've just done all my bed prep, but for me, that's just been a lot of weeding, really, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I'm doing in terms of no dig and what inputs I'm putting on. This year is the first year that I've tried a lot of raw manure, which went on in winter, and then I covered. And I think I shouldn't have covered it. We actually discussed that on here, and everyone kind of said, well, does it? If you cover it, surely it can't break down properly. And you were right. So where there's been quite a lot of the raw manure, it's not broken down very much at all. So I've taken all the covers off, given it a good weed. But the problem with raw manure is that it's full of weed seed. So that's going to be germinating. And what I'm going to have to do with that is hoe through it, rake it in, try and incorporate it into that top layer of soil while breaking up the weeds. What I kind of wish I'd done is just piled it all into a bay to compost down. So then I had well-rotted manure that you can then do a much more no-dig thing with, because if it's well-rotted, you won't have any weed seeds in there. And I think I'm moving more towards no-dig for the beds. I can see just from last year, I did 1 or 2 applications of manure, well-rotted manure, bought in, and it's life-changing. The weed pressure drops off so much. I've still got a bit of couch grass coming up in the beds, but that's pretty much it. And the difference between the ones that I've done properly with cardboard and like a thick no-dig mulch compared to the other ones, I've maybe just chucked a little bit of compost or a bit of manure on top, night and day. So I just did all the bed prep. I was going through the weeding. The ones that I hadn't done it on took flipping ages, man. Like so long. I think I gave up halfway through. So that's my kind of bed prep plans. I think much more of the kind of no dig, probably using well rotted manure that I just buy in, because it's worth, even if that well rotted manure added nothing to the soil in terms of texture or nutrient, it would almost be worth it just for me in terms of the time saving. So
well, I'll I grumbled at the price of that sculch stuff, But that's just like it's like a bloody armor suit. Do you know what I mean? And it's the manufacturer's thing says, the little bags I were getting 3 square meters, which didn't work at all. But when I made like say 2 square meters of it, it's just like bulletproof. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to kind of use that. I'll go back to the horse bed and stuff, which is just the same, but it's like. Did you, JB? Because you asked for a link. Did you? No.
I asked you for a link, and then I opened it and went, "That's a bit expensive." And then I closed it.
Never. He doesn't like parting with his money. I think it must have been about £11 now. Is that?
I think it was like 12 or 13, but I don't know. I couldn't remember how much that did. I do want to try it because it does look like it makes life easier. And now I've got the raised beds. That's the big thing that I've done over winter, obviously. Beds everywhere. So it'll be much easier to kind of keep it in, and it won't be flying away or blowing away. I imagine it's a bit trickier to use when you've just got it.
I'll tell you what I've noticed on one of the beds, and I'm interested to see if seeds come there, is one of the beds next to the polytunnel. I did, I put the bike cardboard on. Then I just put my normal homemade compost on top after, so that there's no weeds coming. And then I put maybe a bag, I think, of the Keith Signal and soil conditioner. And as yet, nothing there apart from I put my broad beans in. So it almost looks
a really good sign.
Perfect, broad beans are up and, they'll kind of stand the weather now. So I'm hoping that's like a cheeky little cheap method where there's like a layer of cardboard still. I mean, it's breaking down because when I was digging in the broad beans, you could quite easily put your hand through it. But, you know what I mean? Bring on the e-bikes. That's all. It's the best friend to a gardener. Do you know what I mean? I've got one in the hallway there. Do you know what I mean? There's a one came today. Then straight away I go, that's going to be that bed there. I'll do that there. Get that there in that bed. That's the way I'm thinking of it. You know what I mean? It's like bloody good inch thick stuff. So
So the cardboard's more important than the e-bike.
I didn't use. You said that, Audrey, not me. I just. Mark, do you get clattered with weeds up there in the Highlands and the?
I was actually, there was one. I wish I could remember the name of it because, like I said, I'd had a couple of weeks off and I hadn't been up to the plot at all during that time. And I went up and I went inside the polytunnel. It's a bit like you, Tony, when you used to have your beds in there before you had all the pots. I used I can't remember the name of them. I keep the soil pretty much dry, apart from the little bit where the plants are. And that basically keeps the weeds under control. But I went in and there was something growing like this weed. And it looked like a lily, it had leaves like a lily. And I looked it up at the time. I had to use that Google image search.
All right.
I took a photo of it to find it. And it said what it was. But what I was worried about is when I pulled one up, the roots were all sort of joined to each other. And I was like, oh, God, what's this going to be? And I'm really worried now that there's something invasive that's going to keep coming up. So I cleared the whole lot out. And I'm going to give it again. I'll probably go Wednesday.
Do you remember what it was? Was it like a vine-looking thing?
No, say it looked like lily. Look at a lily. So the leaves that come off a lily, obviously not the flower bit, but the leaves sort of quite narrow and pointy. And it was growing quite tall and thin. So some of them, I had some pots down, and it would come up through the pot, and it was like that. And I was like,
wow.
We just see something and just like, oh God. And I get thistles as well. Thistles are quite bad, and they've got a big long tap root on them. So trying to get down. That's where the hori comes as well for getting the thistles out. Because again, you do that thing and you hear the snap of the root and you're just like, that's coming back, isn't it? It's, you think
they've got such long tap roots, thistles.
Oh,
do you
it's
mean?
horrendous.
Even in I've got a bed called Big Nasty. It's about 3 foot deep. They're coming up there, and I'm thinking, man, it was just rock and crap at the but they're coming all the way up. So even when I pull a taproot that big, I know it's travelled that far.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Man. Audrey, prim and proper garden, you'll have no weeds in there. No weeds will go in Audrey's garden.
I have weeds.
Out, get rid of the weeds.
What do you think? Yeah, I do have weeds, but I agree that no dig has helped with the weed suppression like I've never seen. So I put on some composted manure on top of the bed, and I had a soil test done, and I was low in nitrogen and potassium. So I'm for sure throwing in some blood meal for the nitrogen, and I'm yet to find an organic source for the potassium. So, but I will address that too, because they're both. Yeah, go ahead.
Would you only use organic?
I prefer to only use it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Interesting.
Now, I know this is going to come as a shock to everyone there, but it is my daughter's birthday today. Now, I said to myself, we're only going to do 45 minutes. So if you don't mind, I would just like to kind of, because I've got to download it from a site, then I've got to upload it, and it just 6 o'clock the table's booked, and I don't want to miss a curry. I missed one the other week as well. So, JB, it's lovely to have you on. Thank you so much. Where can we find your expertise?
You can find me at Naturally JB on YouTube and Instagram.
Audrey, always a pleasure. Never a chore. New camera as well. Thank you so much for rocking up.
Yes, and hopefully we'll deal with the sun next time. Yes. Real Food Comes Dirty. YouTube, Instagram, and .com.
Thank you very much. Mark, it's been, honestly, I haven't seen you for ages, so it's been lovely to kind of just check in there and see how you're doing. Thank you. Mark, where are them videos?
Well, you can find me at Mark Solomon Plot on YouTube, Instagram, and wait for it, now on TikTok.
Oh
God, yeah. TikTok,
He's mixed with the kids there, man. He's up to dancing at the disco.
It's very different on TikTok to everywhere else. I can promise you that.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that algorithm is kind of spot on, isn't it? You know what I mean? You kind of.
Aye.
So don't go searching for anything you shouldn't want to. How's this? How am I getting this stuff? Well, I'll tell you how you're getting that stuff. You know what I mean? Right, everyone. Listen, take good care. Sorry it's a short one, but chicken vindaloo for me. Look after yourselves. Take good care.
Bye.
Bye.